Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome to this week's program. We're so glad to have you folks with us. Let me remind you, please let those local cable companies and TV stations know that our program is there every week on satellite, and all they have to do is tape our show. They can broadcast it in any convenient time slot that they have available. We have a great show for you this week. We have a couple of really exciting new guns from Wesson, and we're so pleased to be showing those to you. So without further ado, as I like to say, let's let another shooting show begin. Got a little wet there. Now friends, when I said exciting guns, as I was talking about a little earlier, this new Wesson fixed barrel 357 Magnum is really one of the most exciting guns that I have seen in some time. I tell you what, you may be saying, well, Johnny, it's just another revolver. Well, that's not necessarily so. You know, the Wesson Firearms Company has built their reputation on firearms that have interchangeable barrels. That's what has been a hallmark of their production from the very beginning when Dan Wesson began the company back in the 60s. And this is a new departure for the Wesson Firearms Company because it is a fixed barrel. It is a barrel just like most of the other manufacturers make. You don't mess with it. You don't tighten it, loosen it. It is there on a permanent basis. Now these guns come with different barrel lengths. They also come in stainless steel, and as you can tell, the polish on this Wesson fixed barrel 357 is, as far as I'm concerned, just without equal. You can literally see your face in the side of the frame and the barrel there because it is so highly polished and so finely fitted. I am so pleased that a smaller American company, and I want to remind you, a lot of us forget when we think of handguns, we typically think of Ruger and Colt and Smith & Wesson, but believe me, there is another very fine American handgun manufacturer, and of course this is Wesson Firearms, the good folks there in Palmer, Massachusetts. So we have really enjoyed shooting this little gun, and I say little because it's not a very big package. In fact, it is just a little smaller than the 686 or L frame Smith & Wesson 357, and it's just a little bigger, in fact, than the K-frame Smith & Wesson, such as this Lady Smith in 357. In comparing the K-frame to the new Wesson Arms gun, of course the K-frame Smith, this one does not have an underlug barrel. The cylinder, in fact, on the Wesson is the same size approximately as the K-frame Smith & Wesson, but the frame is quite a bit thicker, it's quite a bit heavier, and of course we have the underlug barrel, such as on the L-frame Smith & Wesson. And of course I'm not taking anything away from these very fine Smith & Wesson guns, but I just want you to know there is another terrific gun company out there that is making some of the finest revolvers I think that money can buy. In fact, on the 357 fixed barrel gun, the frame on this Wesson is quite a bit heavier, in fact, than the frame on the L frame Smith & Wesson. So I think that's going to speak extremely well for durability on these new Wesson guns. Of course, they have always had a reputation for durability, especially these guns were successful, or have been successful for many years in silhouette shooting and all sorts of shooting competitions. They are really just excellent. The main difference externally that you'll see is the cylinder latch, instead of being back here beside the hammer on the frame, is in fact in front of the cylinder. It is very easy to manipulate. In fact, a lot of people are thinking that this crane or yoke latch on these guns may contribute to the fantastic accuracy that Wessons typically demonstrate. That's one thing that I had wondered about when we got these guns in, was were they going to be as accurate, say, as the guns that have the interchangeable barrels, because the interchangeable barrel models have such a terrific reputation for accuracy. And the good news is, yes, in fact, they are. We were doing some testing a few days ago with this gun, accuracy testing at 10 yards, and after the first hole appeared in the target, I began to wonder, am I missing the target? Well, what was happening, the gun was literally putting the bullets in the same hole. So it is really impressive. So today we're going to do a little shooting, in fact, up close, to give you an idea. And I want to mention that these guns come with very fine, soft rubber Hogue grips. They're very comfortable in your hand. And of course, the Dan Wesson or Wesson guns come with a spur type frame. You don't have a large frame around here. You have a spur that goes down in the grip. So you have really an endless variation of grips or grip configurations that you can put on these guns. And this one is especially, this is the stock grip, this Hogue, and it is especially comfortable and really does a terrific job of dampening recoil. This gun, in fact, is fairly light. It's a 4-inch barrel 357. It's about the same size, say, as our Ruger P91 and semi-automatic. In fact, there's not a whole heck of a lot of difference in weight or size in these two guns. But the 357, a lot of people now are buying semi-automatics in various calibers, thinking that your magazine capacity or the mechanism itself will make them one a better defensive choice or two easier to shoot. Well, I don't agree with that at all. 6 shots of the 357 Magnum is a tremendous package. And you know, if you are new to firearms, if you're new to handguns, don't know a lot about firearms, we certainly would recommend a revolver as your first gun. And even someone like myself that literally shoots everything, you would be amazed at all the things that come through our program for testing. I prefer a revolver because of my experience over the years, just my own personal feelings about the reliability and simplicity of the mechanism. I enjoy shooting the semi-automatics, and by all means, if you like semi-automatics and you're very familiar with how they work and the proper procedures for handling semi-automatics, well, that's great. I don't have a problem with that because I certainly enjoy shooting them too. But for a defensive weapon, I just really don't think that you can beat a 357 Magnum revolver, certainly of this class of firearm, because this Wesson is so well made and it functions absolutely superbly, which is really all we can ask. We're going to do some shooting here with the gun and let you see in comparison, one, just how rapidly you can shoot this 357 Magnum revolver with full charge. We're going to be using the great Federal 125 grain jacketed hollow points, moving at about 1,450 feet per second out of this gun. Let me mention these guns are available in stainless steel. I don't know if I've said that already or not. They are available in stainless steel or blue with this fantastic polish. This has got to be just one of the prettiest guns I think I've ever seen. In a variety, as I mentioned earlier, a variety of barrel lengths. So I really find this exciting about this departure for Wesson. You know, a lot of people, when they think of interchangeable barrels, if they don't know much about these guns, they'll think, well, if I change barrels on it and change the shroud around the barrel, will I get the gap right between the barrel and cylinder? Or is there any danger of me not getting it tight, the barrel coming off? Well, certainly not. It's so easy to do, and I've never heard of one coming off. But one other advantage that this gun would have over the other models in the Wesson line, if you looked in the gun catalogs, you had all these different combinations of barrels and shrouds that went with these guns, and it was really distracting or confusing even to the average firearms dealer, because they didn't know what frame to start out with or what barrel lengths or whatever else. Well, when you have a gun with with one barrel length per model like this, or a fixed barrel gun in a number of lengths, just you can decide which whole gun you want or which gun at a time you want. It does make it quite a bit simpler. So let's shoot the gun and let you look at it. We're going to make a couple of comparisons here that I think you'll find interesting. Now, friends, I want to mention to you there are speed loaders available for these Wesson 357 fixed barrel guns. They take the same speed loader in 357 as do the K-frame Smith & Wesson, so you have number of speed loaders out there, such as this Safariland Comp 3, which is literally almost an instantaneous loading device. You line up a couple of the holes and push, and of course your gun is loaded. It takes that long. You can do it quicker than you can say it. So let's, I have my Pro Timer on here, so let's make a real rapid fire up close shots on our target here, and watch the muzzle of the gun and see just in fact how much it does or doesn't rise in recoil, because I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to shoot about as fast as I can this morning. And if you notice on this particular segment, on this today's show, you notice the light coming from this way for a while and that way for a while is because we shot this at different times of the day due to some other schedule limitations that we had. So let me get my hearing protection in real well, because these things are loud. Full charge 357 Magnum. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to react, and I'm going to shoot 6 times in one place here about as fast as I can, and let's just see what it looks like. I've got the timer on now, so let's go ahead and push the start button, and I'll get in position like so. Well, that took 1.56 seconds, and you can tell, of course, we were very close to the target there. But my goodness, there are 2 holes in one, 2 holes in one, and then 2. That's an 1.5 inch group, and really that's firing this morning. In fact, about as fast as I can shoot a full charge 357. And you'll notice that I don't think you saw the gun really bucking that far in my hand. Well, my goodness, if I shot 6 times in 1.56 seconds, including my reaction time, well, that speaks awfully well of the controllability of the gun, certainly with full charge 357 Magnum ammunition. Let me remind you, of course, since this is a 357, you can also shoot 38 specials to train with, or maybe you're uncomfortable with shooting a full charge 357 Magnum for home defense. You can always drop back to that 38 special for a much, much milder velocities, and for that matter, recoil or noise too. But I'll tell you what, that's not too bad. You can see on our target there. Now, friends, you know we've got our masking tape, and you can see some tape pieces here on the targets. You know, this is an essential ingredient to come to the range when you're going to shoot at paper targets, because you can cover up the holes you just shot. Now, I've seen people come down to the range, and they would have a target, and they say, well, I'm going to shoot up here for a while, and then on my next group, I'm going to shoot down here. Well, what you have before you know it, you have a bunch of holes in your target, and you're not sure where you shot with any particular string. So this is an essential ingredient. And of course, masking tape is real cheap, and there's just no excuse not to have something to cover up the holes that you just shot, in fact. So let's do that. Now then, you know, I'm always talking about the performance of revolvers versus semi-automatics, and some of you would think, well, Johnny just doesn't like semi-automatics. Well, that's not true. I do like, there are some very fine semi-automatic guns, and they certainly have their place. But my own choice, if it comes down to the well-known, the small grains of sand, shall we say, personally I prefer a revolver for defensive purposes. And you know, handguns, a lot of people now are watching television on some of these movies that are shown, and certainly they're going to the movies, written videos that show guns in a totally unrealistic sense. You know, the original purpose of the handgun was self-defense. It is not what we think of, and I'll unload this 357. It is not an offensive handgun. Now, I tell you what, I don't want anybody coming after me with a revolver or anything else. But the beauty part about a gun like this, the revolver especially, it is portable, it is simple, it is very easy to check at a glance on whether it's loaded or not. You don't have to worry about, do I have one in the barrel or do I not? If you get a bad primer, which does happen, happened to me the other day with factory ammunition, got one that had a bad primer. So all you have to do on a revolver, if you get a click instead of a bang, is just pull the trigger again. Of course, we know this gun's unloaded. So there are all sorts of advantages, and believe me, we need to stress marksmanship regardless of whether you're shooting a revolver or a semi-automatic or whatever else. We need to stress marksmanship rather than just spraying a bunch of bullets out there and hoping one of them hits where it's supposed to. That is an entirely wrong philosophy.
Friends, stay tuned. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or television station.
Late again, Mike.
All right, people, violent crime. The voters want answers, and I need something now.
It's simple. Crime pays, and criminals know it.
Chances are 1 in 25 they'll ever do prison time for serious crimes.
Oh, come on. These are government numbers. Murderers serve a third of their sentence, and they're out to kill again. So?
So how about a 3-time loser law?
Yeah, 3 felonies and you put away for good.
Put away where? We're out of prison space.
So build more.
Cost society 17 times more to let him go than lock him up.
You just don't get it, do you? Keeping criminals in prison works. Ask the victims. Don't tell me what'll work! Tell me what'll sell.
How about another gun control law?
So my gun control plan to ban these guns will break the back of violent crime and rid our streets of violent criminals. Do you have any questions?
Don't let politicians get away with murder. Join the NRA.
Get ready to order the most exciting videotape ever offered on television. It's the best of guns, guns, guns. 60 minutes of action, excitement, and the most amazing display of firearms available on video. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and machine guns. See Bob Munden, the fastest gun who ever lived. USPSA pistol competition. The Steel Challenge. U.S. Marine Corps weapons. Machine guns from around the world, and lots of surprises. If you like guns, you'll love the best of guns, guns, guns. Available only through this special TV offer. Fast draw competition, hand cannon, Soldier of Fortune firepower, how to shoot fast, and lots more like you've never seen it before in this 60-minute action-packed video. Use your credit card to order toll-free now. Call 1-800-942-8273. You'll receive the best of guns, guns, guns for just $29.95 plus $4 shipping. By ordering now, you'll receive this 28-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So call with your credit card right now, 1-800-942-8273, or send check or money order to 7888 Ostro Street, Suite A, San Diego, California, 92111.
Now, friends, what we're going to do next, we have our Ruger P91 in 40 S&W caliber, and we have it loaded with carbine ammunition. Now, this is the carbine with 135 grain jacketed hollow points, moving at over 1,300 feet per second out of this particular gun. It approaches the power of the .357 Magnum with the 125 grain bullets, moving about 1,450 feet per second. In other words, it's a comparable package in size as well as in weight. There's not a lot of difference in these guns. So let's rapidly, what we're going to do, we're going to shoot both of these targets twice, and we're going to do it with both of these guns. And let's see what happens. Let's just see how fast this particular revolver is compared to this particular semi-automatic. We're going to load our Wesson .357 with our Rowlands speed load. Aren't these neat? Just put them in there, and literally that spring pressure will just throw them right in the chambers. We've got our timer on. Be sure my hearing protection is in real good. All right, we're going to shoot bang, 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 bang. Let's see how long it takes. 4 shots on 2 targets. Go ahead and press our start button on our timer. Here we go. Okay, we have 4 good hits, 1.23 seconds. Well, including my reaction time. You know, that didn't take long at all. So now we're going to set down. In fact, let's look at our hits. We have one here and here, both pretty good center hits. These 2 are good hits on the center ring there. So 1.23 seconds. Remember that figure. And now let's tape our holes so we'll know where we shot. All right, let's try the same drill with our semi-automatic and be sure. I'm going to check and see if it's loaded. Remember, when you check these guns, always point them in a safe direction. Never point them at something that we can't afford to lose or destroy. We just don't take chances. And of course, this is a decock model, and I always check it when handling it to be sure that that hammer is down in the safe position for this particular gun. So let's do that same drill, what we just did with our 357 Magnum revolver with a semi-automatic, and let's just see what it does. All right, remember that 357 time was 1.23 seconds, pretty quick. Punch our timer and get ready. Well, with comparable ammunition, that took 1.27 seconds, yet our hits, in fact, and you saw me decock that, that's the first thing I do when I get through shooting one of these double action semi-automatic handguns, hit that decocker or anything else. Just make it a habit. If you've got one of these guns, every time you get through a shooting string, be sure and hit that decocker and let that gun be in a safe condition. We'll put it down. Now then, 1.27 seconds as compared to 1.23 seconds. So with comparable ammunition, I'm actually a little faster with the revolver. And look here, my hits weren't as good with the semi-automatic. Of course, that first shot, that long first shot double action may have had something to do with that, probably did. But that just goes to illustrate our point here. You can shoot a revolver every bit as fast as you can a semi-automatic. And what we're most concerned with, 2 hits over here were pretty good, what we're most concerned with is hitting our target. Regardless of what that target is, we're concerned with hitting our target. And of course the revolvers now with the speed loaders such as this Safari and Comp 3 can be reloaded so rapidly. I'll tell you what, friends, another point here, I don't know if it's worth mentioning or not, but for what the average high-quality revolver costs in comparison to the average high-quality semi-automatic, heck, you can just about buy 2 revolvers for what some of these semi-automatics cost. Present company accepted here with the Ruger, which is more economical for its quality than many others. You know, that's a point I should mention. These Wesson guns are more economical than comparable guns made here in the United States. And truthfully, I don't know how long they can keep these prices down because, friends, the quality here on this gun is evident. We've certainly been shooting it for several days now, have really put it through a pretty difficult testing program, and it is just outstanding. And truthfully, I don't know how long that the people at Wesson can keep those prices a little lower than on some of the other American manufacturers, but it is just an excellent bargain for the money. So, in fact, if you're looking for a first quality revolver, this is one that we highly recommend that you folks take a look at. Whether you already have revolvers, well, this would make an excellent addition to your collection. If you're a police officer looking for a revolver, you really can't do better than this Wesson as far as I'm concerned on the way this gun functions. If you're a homeowner, maybe you're buying your first gun, well, this is one because it is a bargain. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, well, my goodness, take a look at the Wesson because you're going to get Cadillac quality for a little bit more economical price than you would in some of the other manufacturers. So this is the great Wesson 357 fixed barrel gun. Here in the sun, you're probably getting glints of the sun off this fantastic polish. Friends, trust me on this one. If you take a look at these guns, you'll be very well pleased with how they perform, how they shoot, and for that matter, with your pocketbook.
Hi, I'm Bill McIntyre with the National Rifle Association with another report from Capitol Hill. Today I'm joined by John Smith-Baker, Director of Field Services for the National Rifle Association. John has a new program called Friends of NRA, which is just reaching across from the East Coast to the West Coast, reaching cities all across the country. John, can you give us a little brief description about the Friends of NRA program?
Oh, I think you touched on it, Bill, and I'll be happy to. NRA reaches every community. The Friends of NRA program is meant to go out and reach those individuals and have them come together and organize a friendly, fun fundraiser on behalf of the NRA. It's put on by the local volunteers, and it has the flavor of each community, so you can have an outdoor barbecue to a formal event. It all depends on the local volunteers.
Sounds like a family event.
Oh, very much so. We encourage spouses and children, grandmothers and grandfathers all to attend, and it's meant to be a fun event and a time to renew relationships, and the commonly heard phrase is that, gosh, I didn't know you were an NRA member, and it's time to really renew the spirit in the fight of the Second Amendment.
You've had more than your fair share of Friends of NRA events already. What have been the responses from a lot of the people participating?
Well, we're just finding out. This program is new in 1993, and we've had over 50 events so far. We plan to have close to 200 this year, and it's going to do nothing but double in the years to come. And the success has been phenomenal. We've raised a lot of money, and that's the unique thing about it, is that half the money raised remains in the state for state projects, and the other half comes back for national programs.
How does someone organize a Friends of NRA event?
It's very simple. It's meant to be a turnkey operation, and it's under the guidance and direction of the local NRA field representative in their community. So basically you get in contact with them, or you can call here at the national headquarters and we'll give you the name of the field representative. And it's what they do is they get together and they have an organizing committee meeting, and they pick a place, location, the size of the event they want to hold, and everything from there is easy.
What motivated you and the NRA to take on what amounts to a social event when we've so often been bogged down in legislative fundraisers and things like that?
Well, I think that's the key to the success of this. We get so caught up in all the legislative battles that we lose the sight of the spirit behind the Second Amendment. And the community volunteers, when they get together and then they have all the participants show up, it's a night of fun and fellowship that can't be garnered any other way. I mean, the capture of the excitement of all these NRA members in pursuit of the Second Amendment is just exciting to be there. And if you can raise some money at the same time to help us fight those expensive legislative battles, I mean, it's a 1-2 punch.
You've had some dinners, you've mentioned some barbecues. What can somebody expect at the average, or so far the average, Friends of NRA event? What do they get when they go there?
What they get is, one, intangible, is the renewed spirit in the protection of the Second Amendment, because today in the media, where you're bombarded by misinformation and all the lies, to speak boldly, you get together and you learn the truth, and you learn the fellowship and the other beliefs of the other NRA members, and you realize that your beliefs are sound and strong. And in addition to that, great merchandise is available. You get some great bargains. Hotly contested items in the live auction is one component. We have a silent auction, and we also have special drawings for unique items.
I understand the NRA has come up with some magnificent products and merchandise for these events. Mention a few of the more popular ones.
Well, like I said, there's a great group of merchandise, but the two highly contested items right now are the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun with the NRA medallion in the stock, and the NRA Afghan with the NRA logo on it. And I tell you what, you've never seen some highly contested products as that.
I understand the bidding at the auction can get pretty hot and heavy.
It is. It's funny. It gets really hot when it's between two buddies, and I don't know what's more important, the pride or getting the merchandise.
All right. John, if somebody wants to do a Friends of NRA event, how do they reach you? How do they reach Friends of NRA?
Well, they can look on their phone book or call information for the local field representative, or they can call the D.C. headquarters and ask about the Friends of NRA program, and the number is 202-828-6124.
All right. Thanks very much. John Smith-Baker, Director of Field Services with the Friends of NRA program. I'm Bill McIntyre. I'll see you again next week with a report from Capitol Hill here at the National Rifle Association.
Friends, there's more of the Shootin' Show ahead after this station break for your local cable company or TV station.
to tell you, Shreveport Dodge. For a buy of a lifetime, come by Shreveport Dodge. You get $500 on the diesel, excluding the Cub Cab. $1,500 on the regular size pickup. $500 on the Dakota. $500 on the Caravan. $1,000 on the Ram 250 customized vans, and we have 35 in stock. $1,000 cash directly to you. Put it in your pocket and put it towards the down payment. Come by Shreveport Dodge. It's the end of the year sale. We have them going, so come by. Thank you very much.
Now, friends, tell me, isn't that one of the prettiest trucks you ever saw? Well, this is, in fact, our new Dodge we got a few weeks ago from Shreveport Dodge. And I tell you what, it is, every time I go out there and see that thing, I said, you know, this is just too pretty to drive on Louisiana roads. And that's a good point. You know, our roads here in Louisiana tend to be pretty bad. In fact, a lot of them would qualify for off-road courses. And this Dodge, we have a couple of thousand miles on it now, and it doesn't have a squeak or a rattle anywhere. It is just such a nice truck and as rugged as can be. Now, friends, you can see just how nice these vehicles are, these fine Dodge trucks. If you need a truck but you like driving a car, well, definitely this Dodge is the way to go. You can see how much room they have in it. You know, even if you want to wear your hat, you've got room to do that. And if you have a well-developed table muscle there, like some of us do, well, you still have room between your table muscle and the steering wheel. Now, speaking of comfort, you can look at all the room under the hood on these Dodge trucks. And friends, let me tell you what, these Magnum motors are something else in performance. For those of us that came along in the 60s and remember what performance really in fact is, the new Dodge trucks with these Magnum engines will definitely make you stand up and take notice. Along with terrific performance, you also get excellent gas mileage. So friends, if you're looking for a new pickup, you darn sure ought to think about one of these new Dodge trucks from Shreveport Dodge here in Shreveport, Louisiana. That phone number is area 318-797-1233. Shreveport Dodge.
Welcome to the 1992 Masters. Chief AJ with Shooting Sports. And assembled here at Barry, Illinois, are shooters from all around the world, Australia and England, all over the United States of America, to take part in an action handgun event, long-range rifle, shotgun, and best of all today, we're going to see the young shooters of America in the Bike-a-thon. I'm here with Nicole from Barry, Illinois, and she's one of the competitors that's going to shoot an air rifle here in this Bike-a-thon. She's on her bike, she's at the start line, and she has to ride and shoot both. So Nicole, show us how it's done. Here comes Nicole. She's on her bike. She's done her dismount. She's right into the blue bike holder. She's over, putting on her safety glasses, picking up her gun. I'm so proud of these young people, especially a young lady here like Nicole. Nicole showed us how to do it, and now we have a full field of 5 riders. And give me your name, please.
Matt Harris.
Where are you from, Matt?
Barry, Illinois. John Bockham, Liberty, Illinois. Dale Windorf, Barry, Illinois. Scott Upshilday from Payson, Illinois.
Jennifer Hemming, Quincy, Illinois.
I'm rooting for Jennifer. On your mark, get set, go. This is a very complicated event. Not only do they have to shoot well, but they have to ride their bicycle a mile to a half a mile. They have creeks, they have hills, they have a water hazard, and they're riding and they're racing like mad because they're riding and shooting against the clock, and there they come down through the hazards, and there they go on to shoot their way to glory. They're going to ride up to their shooting booth, put on their safety glasses, pick up their revolvers and their rifles. Talk about an action shooting event. They have a long course to ride from here. After they shoot down all their targets, they have to ride through 3 creeks and a mud puddle and over berms. Here we have a competitor going. Got all of these targets down. Second competitor's got all these targets down. They're competing for U.S. savings bonds, which hopefully will be applied to college education. The United States of America, as I keep saying, is a nation of riflemen and riflewomen now. There goes Jennifer. John Clark here is from a marksman that makes these pellet rifles for these young people to learn marksmanship with. And John, explain this event a little bit more to me and explain the rifle to me.
Well, the basic concept of the bikeathlon is a combination of off-road bike racing with airgun shooting. And we have 3 separate divisions here. We have a novice division for the real youngsters. They race around the course once and shoot twice. We have a junior division who races around the course twice and shoots twice. Then we have a senior division who goes about a full mile on the bikes and stops and shoots at 3 different times. The rifles that they're using in the event right here is the Marksman 1790 Biathlon Trainer. It's a single-stroke break barrel rifle. It's designed for speed. All the shooters need to do when they come into the shooting booth is simply cock the rifle down once like that. They load a pellet straight down into the barrel. They come back up, and the gun's ready to shoot.
John, I see you're giving the youth of America real good training here. You're stressing safety and stressing marksmanship and physical conditioning. What is the youngest age that can compete in this?
8 years old.
8 years old. I'm proud of you, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here at the Masters with my little Burris scout scope on my rifle, and you all know by now how I like to shoot those scopes that are made in the United States of America. And Burris is sponsoring a shoot here, and we have a Burris representative. Dwight, come on in here. Just introduce yourself.
I'm Dwight Van Brun. I'm the National Sales Manager with Burris.
And what event are you sponsoring?
We're sponsoring the high youth category at the Masters, and we're proud to do that because we believe that one of the ways that we can develop a future in hunting and shooting is to work with today's youth, because they're the hunters and shooters of tomorrow.
So that was a good, serious speech, and I'm behind you 100%. Now, tell me what you did last night with this little rifle.
We took this little thing up to the range, and we had some press and some of the exhibitors up there, and there were 3 of these custom Rugers up there, and they were shooting with the rear-mounted scopes with the Plex and the crosshair reticles. I took this up there with some of your stuff, and they shot the first round with this, and I came up the next time, and I shot about 24, which is good for a rookie, and and knocked the two little 1-inch circles out the first shot. And this is the last gun that was shot all night. They shot all our ammunition. They were loading up the clips and shooting as fast as they could, and the other two guns stayed in the boots. It was great.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed shooting my little Burr Scout scoped, I call those my little matching field rifles. But we're proud of American companies that sponsor the youth of America in learning marksmanship skills. For years, rifle shooting was done at paper targets. And that was interesting for the shooter, but it just was not a spectator sport. But due now to these like portrait targets and these metal action targets, we've made a spectator sport out of it. So what I mean by an action target is that when you shoot and you don't hit this plate and you hit the black bullseye, you get instant gratification, and everybody in the audience, or ESPN, they can see right away whether or not you missed the target. And that's one of the ways now that action rifle shooting and .22 rifle shooting has become a spectator sport due to these fine metal targets.
Now, friends, Chief AJ has shooting sports tapes available from Chief AJ, Box 131, Tuscola, Illinois. His zip code is 61953. For information on tapes or on some of the Chief's very fine products, shooting products, certainly, you can call him at area 217-253-2279. Now, friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times magazine. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers, such as Dick Metcalf and Rick Jameson, and our good friend Bill Jordan, just to name a few. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry, that along with information on pending legislation of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is.
Late again, Mike.
All right, people, violent crime. The voters want answers, and I need something now.
It's simple. Crime pays, and criminals know it.
Chances are 1 in 25 they'll ever do prison time for serious crimes.
Oh, come on. These are government numbers. Murderers serve a third of their sentence, and they're out to kill again.
So?
So how about a 3-time loser law?
Yeah, 3 felonies and you put away for good.
Put away where? We're out of prison space.
So build more.
Cost society 17 times more to let him go than lock him up.
You just don't get it, do you? Keeping criminals in prison works. Ask the victims.
Don't tell me what'll work.
Tell me what'll sell.
How about another gun control law?
So my gun control plan to ban these guns will break the back of violent crime and rid our streets of violent criminals. Do you have any questions?
Don't let politicians get away with murder. Join the NRA.
Friends, the Shooting Show will be right back after this break for your local TV station or cable company.
Friends, the next gun we're going to look at today is, of course, the other gun we got from Wesson Firearms Company, and this is the fixed barrel 44 Magnum. Now, as you can see, it is a very strong, and in fact, it is quite a bit larger gun when compared to our 629 Smith & Wesson. It's quite a bit more metal involved in the frame, and of course, it has the underlug barrel, and our 629 doesn't. But this is a very strong and well-finished handgun. and one that I think is going to be making a lot of inroads in the future into 44 Magnum shooters' hands. It is so well finished. As you can see, the bluing is just phenomenal. The polish that these folks do is just out of this world. As in fact, I would put their fit and polish up against anyone else's firearm. We're so pleased to be working with the good folks at Wesson, and believe me, they have got the product. It is just terrific. We're going to be shooting this gun, of course, as we showed you earlier with the 357. It has a crane-mounted latch, just like they've been using for all these years. The only difference, essentially, in this gun and most of the other Wessons that we've come to be familiar with, again, it has a fixed barrel. It is not interchangeable. You do not take this barrel off or put it on whatever else. You leave it just like it is. So I'm so glad that they're doing this on this new series of guns, because I think it is just a tremendous bargain for the money. It is less expensive than in so many cases as compared to comparable revolvers, and trust me on this one, it'll shoot with anybody else's gun. In fact, we're really not going to show you any accuracy testing with this gun today, because it'll go into 5 shots into about an inch or so at 25 yards just on demand. It is extremely accurate. We're going to shoot the gun in just a moment and compare it to some other things and show you a couple of ideas on 44 Magnums as we think about for home defense. Now friends, you know, we've shot a number of 44 Magnums on our program in the past, and I probably get more questions every week from viewers, and as far as letters and phone calls go, about home defense more so than anything else. So today we're going to use this Wesson Arms 44 Magnum, of course, with the fixed barrel, and as I said earlier, accuracy on this gun is just phenomenal. It's rifle-like, just an amazing bargain for the money. This, similar to our 357, is less expensive, in fact, and of course I don't know how long the good folks at Wesson can hold that price down there, because in workmanship and shootability and performance, my goodness, this is as good as it gets as far as I have seen in 44 Magnum revolvers. But what we're going to do, we're going to take the full charge 44 Magnum, and we're going to time 6 shots here on the paper. We're going to show you why most of the experts don't recommend full charge 44 Magnums for home defense. All right, friends, as I was saying earlier, we're going to show you why the full charge 44 Magnum is not the best home defense round, probably. One is penetration. The full charge 44 Magnum, either with a jacketed hollow point or in a solid, will have tremendous penetration, much more so than is needed for home defense. That's one thing that makes a 357 Magnum such an effective defensive round, because you're not that terribly concerned about over penetration with the 110 grain or 125 grain jacketed hollow point, yet it's very destructive on whatever target it hits. Now then, for out here in the country where we live, where I may run into a wild hog or something like that, I prefer a 44 Magnum, because you need the power on a game animal. But for home defense, a full charge 44 Magnum will go through several walls, will just go through a tremendous amount of solid material, through a good bit of steel filing cabinet would be nothing to a 44 Magnum. It will zip right on through. So we're going to show you in time-wise on our timer. We're going to shoot 6 44 Magnums, and then we're going to do the same drill with 44 Specials, which probably for the average person, especially for home defense, would be a much better round to use for defensive purposes. Certainly the 44 Special at much milder velocities. All right, friends, I've got my timer on here. Let's go ahead and start it. It will cue me, and I'm going to fire 6 shots, and be sure my hearing protection is in real well. Yes, it is. So let's see how long 6 aimed shots, or 6 rapid fire, as well as I can aim them, shots will take us. All right. Yes, that's 6. And of course, even with full charge loads, 240 grain jacketed hollow point moving at 1,400 feet per second out of this gun barrel, You know, that's not a bad group. My goodness. Well, typical Wesson accuracy. 3 of them are touching here and 3 touching there, but it took 1.74 seconds. So now then, let's load the gun with 44 specials at much milder velocities, a 240 or so bullet, 246 grain bullet, moving at about 800 feet per second out of this same gun. So let's take a look at that. All right, friends, that took 1.51 seconds, really a small group there, and that is most impressive. So you're looking at about 2/10 of a second quicker, and 2/10, if you're in a hurry, can be a long time, 2/10 or so of a second quicker than with the full charge ammunition. And of course, this big Wesson being so easy to shoot. In fact, that's equally as good as our time with the 357 Magnum earlier. I think it was 1:56. I'll have to go back and check. But the 44 Special is a very effective defensive round. It doesn't have the penetration that the full charge Magnum round would have. So that's really impressive. Again, these guns are absolute first quality firearms. And I think that some of us, if we're looking for a revolver, we ought to go down to our gun shop tomorrow and try and find us a Wesson. Friends, another option that we have, you know, some of us don't have the luxury of being able to afford very many guns. Some of us may only be able to afford one gun, if that. So if you're certainly going to only have one gun, this is one that we can very highly recommend, our Wesson 44. There is another alternative for home defense or for defensive purposes in general, and that's the Glaser safety slug. And what this amounts to is it's a frangible bullet. It is a bunch of small shot, literally encapsulated in a brass jacket. And what happens is when it hits any sort of fierce resistance, such as a fluid type resistance on say, an animal fluids or anything like that, what happens, it literally breaks apart. As I was saying, the Glaser safety slug is a lot better round for home defense if you live in an apartment or close to a lot of other people and all you've got is a 44 Magnum. What we have here for a little demonstration of just the Glaser breaking up when it hits a fluid-filled substance here, a fluid-filled object, in fact, not substance but object. We have 2 water jugs that are back to back here and both filled with water. So let's shoot the first one, and of course with a normal 44 Magnum bullet it would go on through the next water jug and the next and the next. Well, let's see what happens with our Glaser safety slug and see what it looks like. You can see the first one took quite a hit. And the second one was damaged when it fell, but as far as any shot holes or bullet holes, there aren't any. So that it completely broke up. Like I said, the jug broke. Let's take a look. It broke when it fell off the target stand there, but there are no holes. In fact, holding it like this, it's not leaking at all. So again, your impact of your Glaser is immediate on the first object that it hits, and it's just not going to penetrate through a lot of different things and hurt someone next door in all likelihood.
Now, friends, we just saw what the Glaser safety slug would do as far as penetration on fluid-filled objects does. Let's look at another demonstration.
Now let's just picture this. Let's say that you did have to shoot at a drugged adversary in your home, and let's say that you missed one of those shots. You know, we're always talking about it's important to hit your target. Let's see what would happen. And of course, these wooden boards here would equal the resistance of a couple of walls inside the average house. So let's just see what happens to our water jug behind our boards when we shoot, again with the full charge 240 grain jacketed hollow point. And let's see what happens shooting through all 3 boards first.
Friends, the point we're trying to make here is the 44 Magnum full power hunting loads are not the best for home defense. Consider the number of variations in 44 Specials, which are much milder, or even in 44 Magnum, you might consider the Winchester Silvertip or the Glazer Safety Slug or MagSafe or the Federal HydroShocks, but this is something that we need to think about now in these times.
Friends, we have really enjoyed shooting these new Wesson fixed barrel guns since we've gotten them just a few days ago. And I tell you what, this the bluing is so pretty, the polish is so pretty. Let me remind you that these guns are available in a variety of barrel lengths, whether you want a 357 Magnum or the 44 Magnum, and you can also get them in stainless steel. So again, those prices are extremely competitive. In fact, they're more economical than any quality gun that I know of, and I don't know how long that the good folks at Wesson can keep those prices down below some of the other manufacturers. But trust me on this one, friends, you can't go wrong. If the guns that we've been seeing from the Wesson Arms Company or Firearms Company for the past couple of years is any indication, well, I tell you what, some of the other gun companies better be looking over their shoulder, because Wesson is definitely gaining on them. Again, you can't go wrong. Let's all take a look at these guns, and I think your impression will be just as good as mine is.
For information on the fine Wesson Firearms Company line, you can give them a call at area 413-267-4081. They're located in Palmer, Massachusetts. Again, 413-267-4081. Now, friends, as gun enthusiasts, you know all of us need to subscribe to Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. That zip code is 68902. Their phone number is area 402-463-4589. With literally thousands of firearms bargains, 3 big issues monthly. For MasterCard or Visa subscriptions only, call them at 1-800-345-6923. Friends, again, we've had a great time bringing you today's program. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Please remember, join the NRA. All of us need to be in there. Until next week, look forward to seeing you on the Shootin' Show.